Alright, I'm here at the shop. I brought a proper trailer this time. Hopefully my car can get up here. Let's go inside and take a look and find out. Hello.
What's up, man?
Nothing much. Picking up the car.
We have all the materials for the V-bend. All the flanges are in.
Mind if I pick it up?
Yeah, sure thing. Tipsy-turvy right now. But,
Yeah. This looks pretty cool.
It's 2 1/4. Obviously, this is a prototype.
Yep.
So it's not as finished as the final version.
It still looks pretty good.
Yeah, it's not too bad. So it's a 1 1/4 expanded out to 2 1/2. So it's a 2 1/2 all the way to the flange.
Okay.
Later on, your car is it's about 2 inches for the exhaust. But if anybody makes a custom exhaust, or if you end up making an exhaust or something for it, you can definitely do a 2 1/2 inch exhaust from that flange.
Okay.
Further on out.
I see this. I vaguely remember what my flange looks like. This one looks a
Yeah.
little bit bigger, so it looks like these are slotted, so you can just kind of.
Correct. So you have a little bit
Okay.
of play in there. So it'll fit whatever exhaust anybody else has, because this looks like it's a special version exhaust for this thing.
Yeah, that's there's a Mazda Speed, Suzuki Sport one.
Yeah.
Just like a factory joint.
Yeah. So we made
Yeah.
it able to fit whatever anybody has.
I think
or
every
anything
other
else.
exhaust that is available with this car is the same the little
The little
what
flange,
was this thing called? The flange?
Yep.
The
Yeah,
diamond
so-
flange.
Yeah, it's just a 2-bolt. They call it 2-bolt exhaust flange.
Okay.
So we made a little bit of room in there. None of this stuff is exposed to any kind of leaking. All the sealing is done on the inside diameter
Okay.
of it. So,
Cool.
Along with this flange, it's a bell mouth flange. There's one laying around. Yeah, we had these prototyped and cut specifically for this.
Shiny.
Yeah, and it's counterboard on the inside radius there. So we basically take a piece of pipe and swage it to fit in there on this side. Sorry, this is the outlet side, to leave enough room for the flapper of the wastegate to open and close.
Okay.
Because if we would have just done a 1 1/2 inch basically circle there, the wastegate would have hit and not opened all the way.
All
so,
right. Yeah, I've always been curious how this part works. It's just
it's just what we call a bell mouth.
Yeah.
There's nothing, other than it being a little more complicated to fit, form, and to and fabricate. It's basically kind of lets exhaust gases out of the wastegate, so you don't have any.
I remember there was some sort of, it's either hoses or wiring that kind of curls over this.
There's
right about here.
There's 2 cables
Okay.
that come.
Cable and a clutch cable.
They're about 1.5 inches or so above this piece right here.
Okay.
When we go to install this, we'll do like a final install after after we have the final prototype done, and then we'll just put some heat wrap. We use corrugated. It's like a OEM.
Are you going to put it on the
actual
on the-
shift linkage? It's only
Okay.
one linkage that's kind of close. The other one sits out way out here.
But it's not a hose, so it
It's
can't
not
like
a
burst.
hose.
Or
Yeah,
it's
yeah.
a metal
Burst.
cable. It just
I
has,
don't remember what was under
yeah,
there, so
it's
it's
one
just
of
been
them
a
is
while.
a
shift
shifter, and one of
linkage.
them is a clutch linkage.
Yeah.
Okay.
The only thing you're gonna have to do to the chassis, at first we were talking about, because the cats we were finding, and even this cat with the angle it had to be at, was kind of big. Even this one was notching the bracket for the motor mount, but in tinkering with it, messing with it, we got it to fit without having to do any kind of
Yes,
modification to the
that is the
chassis.
ideal situation to
Yeah,
have.
correct. So that was
That took some time.
that took some
it's
time
little,
of
so.
doing it over. Basically, we remade this thing about 5 or 6 times.
Yeah. And then you just have
to
to
get
cut it
kinda-
apart and just start over.
Pretty much, yeah. We scrapped a lot of material. So there's a bin there full of scrap material from this thing, and a couple in the rafters of frustration. So
You just chucked them in there.
yeah. So we got it to fit fine and function. We made this into a 2 1/2 inch piece, so that was kind of like a bonus to be able to make it all work the way we wanted to, in case somebody that wants to make big power. You know, wants to do something.
I think everyone's stuck with some sort of a exhaust just the way it is now.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm the only one that's going to be asking for something.
Because
Yeah.
there's nothing really on the market, so it's kind of like what you have the car with is what you have, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Pretty much.
There are some it's just a straight, like a little
Oh, like a straight pipe?
it's like a 6-inch pipe like this,
Okay,
out
it's
the
just a
middle.
straight pipe. Okay.
There's been the one I had before, it was like a big tuba.
Mhm.
There's this one. There's one that has two center it's a big giant resonator in the middle, and then two center exits.
Yeah.
So there are some variations out there.
Center exit's pretty cool.
There's probably about 6 different exhausts I could think of just off the top of my head,
Oh,
and of course the
so,
stock
so
one.
there's some out there. So.
Yeah, but none of them would have a bigger pipe or anything. They're all the standard, whatever it's on there.
Yeah,
Well, because they're
standard
meant to work with the factory downpipe.
Yeah.
I assume so.
Mhm.
So,
Yeah.
because nobody makes it down.
so that's why.
Yeah, the even the other downpipes that were ever made, they all attach to the factory stuff.
factory
so
stuff,
everything's the same. This is the beefiest thing that probably exists.
exists for you. Yeah, so
Oh, yeah.
if you see the center section here,
Mhm.
that is the actual cat. It's a slip-in cat. So we had to swage these ends to and then press tolerance press them
Oh, it's in there.
It's in there.
inside.
Yeah,
here.
yeah,
It's not exposed.
Nope.
No,
it's not
okay.
exposed, so it's inside there. The only exposed part is that little seam. See
Yep.
the seam in the middle? That's tacked together. So on the final version, it'll have a weld all the way around.
Okay,
that.
cool.
We were discussing having spring clips or something like that to hold it together. The easiest thing is to weld it. Then you don't have.
I don't think anyone would ever take this apart either.
We basically couldn't find anything that was small enough.
Yeah, I saw that picture. That thing was huge.
Yeah,
And that was not. That was like the smallest.
That was the smallest.
It's a 3x2,
available.
so it's like actually, it's just in comparison to this one, it looks huge.
Yes.
But in relation to like a normal catalytic converters that you would run in any of
It's
this,
small.
it's
yeah.
small.
Basically, this is in the same locale as it. The only issue is that the factory one kind of comes straight down,
Mhm.
you know, and then it's bent here, kind of comes out and in.
Yeah.
We had to go around the engine mount.
Yep.
Just to make room to be able to get a flange on here.
Is there any concern of this getting too hot by whatever it's next to? I don't really know what's under
Nope,
there right now.
this is all free in space.
Okay.
Like it's no further or closer. It's actually further away than the factory unit would be.
How
Yeah.
long do these
If you
last
can-
typically?
Well, this is the actual catalytic converters made. I don't know if you've heard of Akrapovic. They make a lot of titanium exhaust for
For motorcycles,
like really
typically.
expensive motorcycle exhaust and car exhaust.
Exotics and stuff.
This is who we source those from.
Okay.
So we paid a little bit more in the end than we actually quoted. So, but they're the highest quality thing we can find.
Okay.
So I assume they'll last just as long for this. Actually making less horsepower than it would on a motorcycle or
It's
1600
so it's
cc
their
bike.
biggest motorcycle cat that's meant for a 1000cc bike,
Yeah, and those do like what?
Yeah,
100
200
something
horsepower.
which
Yeah.
makes more power and torque. And the main question that I had emailed them was the heat, because this is a turbocharger.
Yep.
And I asked them we kind of talked about, and they said there should be no issues at all with flowing water flows and the heat that it has. So it
Okay.
should last like a normal cat. But it's obviously a high flow cell count
Yep.
versus a factory
Yeah,
cat.
I
But
think it's 150 cell count cat.
Okay.
So it'll flow very well. You know, it's not like a factory cat that impedes anything. So it's a
Okay.
high flow cat.
But this is like, that was like, we spent some time, like I said, because first we're like, oh, we'll get this one, it will fit in there. And then we
Not
like
so
look at
much.
it, we're like, it's not even gonna fit in there even close.
That's it was the
And-
smallest available catalytic converter
Yeah.
that we sold for a regular car. You know, 4-cylinder.
That's not sold on AliExpress. That's the other
That's
thing.
yeah.
You can buy a
That's
lot of
not
stuff
so.
from
so
there.
much-
That's just not.
Yeah, an AliExpress piece.
It's unlikely one will wear out, because even if they are worn out, like people are running these in these cars, they're
They're
from
not
like
daily
92.
drivers, yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
they're almost 30 years
Yeah,
old
almost
for
30
for
years
the
old,
for the oldest one at least.
Yeah, for sure.
So I don't think that's much of a concern. It's
Mm-hmm.
more of those people that live in places that have like visual inspections, like, oh, there
Yeah.
needs to be a cat.
Yeah,
No, it
there-
is.
There's
So this will work.
You'll see the bump out there. That's the actual cat. If you take this apart,
Take the V-band off, you can
yeah,
see the
I'll-
cat
Yes.
inside.
yeah, I'll
Is
take
that
it
how
apart.
that works? So you, the people with the two-piece kit, you
Yeah.
take that out and then
this is gonna these are gonna be fixtured individual. This is just like the final check fixture
Mm-hmm.
to be able to confirm fitment, because this I fixtured the factory downpipe and the factory catalytic converter to the exhaust flange. So this distance between here and there is exactly what it is on your car right now.
Okay.
And then I kind of made this to fit back and forth, off and on the car, on here, and kind of made this fit the actual the fixture location and the car. So
yeah.
That was kind of the most complicated part. So we were thinking there was more space there, you know, but trying to stuff all this in that little bit of space.
But we were hoping that this would actually fit the other car that the drivetrain's basically pulled out of, the Suzuki Alto. But we've looked at pictures and stuff. On the Alto, it's like there's a radiator like right there.
Oh no!
It probably explains why this pipe is like this.
Yeah.
It's probably the same as the Alto pipe.
Yeah.
But in this car, we don't have the radiator like right up against the side
of it. Yeah. Yeah. The only other way to have this work in a factory, in an ultimate factory setup would be to have this upper section casted, and then casted almost exactly as if it were the factory piece. But the unit count for casting stainless steel, you're in the hundreds, you know?
Yeah.
So that just casting this elbow would have been more than your own project. So this is the next best thing to be able to fit.
It is what it is.
car.
This is what we got to work with.
Yeah, I was kind of hoping to shorten this distance as well. But you have the factory bracket that sticks out here, you know, in this area right there.
Yeah, that's where the stock one just kind of dies down.
Yeah, so we had to kind of bypass that.
That's what the other ones do.
Yeah, I
sent you guys some pictures. I don't know.
That was the Desert Eagle one.
Yeah.
And there was something else.
It was a halfway one.
Yeah.
I feel like I got to come up with some weird name for this thing.
You might as well just have something.
Desert Eagle, halfway, take off. What is the other stuff?
But for the two-piece kit, so they will just have this section, and then they will also have another section.
Basically, this section, instead of this mandrel being cut here and then
it would just be a straight piece.
It would just be one weld here, and then this would be a complete mandrel, and that would be a complete mandrel.
Okay.
And it would be a straight, basically, without this bump out, basically.
All right.
Here. So, same exact thing without the bump out. The catalytic converter would be the bump out. I'll pop this off so you can take a look at it.
There was some mention of like a heat probe or something, a temperature probe.
The heat probe sits here on the bottom.
Okay.
We don't have it there because there is no information on the thread pitch of the heat probe. So we have not gotten any bunks for that.
Okay.
And we're going to ask you too because
difficult to add it. Most
all the Japanese cars have their heat probes, like Skyline Supers that we work in.
Yeah.
Everything usually gets deleted.
And we've not seen any like aftermarket like Trust Ready, HKS, any pipe that comes on those cars that we ever installed that reuses that. It's just a cat overheat probe.
Yep.
So it's your final call. If you say, hey, like, no, they need to have a probe in there, we're just gonna have to find out what it is.
Okay.
But if you can ask the guys too, if you like ask them, I'm sure that a lot of them probably don't even know that the probe is there or that it's hooked up. So if you want to ask the guys about the probe and be like, hey, do you guys run the probe, or is anybody actually interested in running? Because it doesn't do anything.
There's a light on the dash,
light, right?
and it looks like a catalytic converter with some steam coming out of it.
Yeah, it's an overheat.
So if the probe overheats, that's when you get the light. But if it's not hooked up, it just doesn't do it. Like the light just doesn't do anything.
The closest thing I can come up with is like an FD RX-7. Has a cat overheat probe as well. The HKS or the Ready or whatever downpipes and exhaust delete it. And when it's unplugged, the light stays off. So I'm assuming that's kind of like
it's the same as the GTR. You unplug it, the light's just so.
If the light would never work because it would never.
It would never heat up. Yeah,
yes,
correct.
Yes. Okay.
So that's your catalytic converter instead of.
Look at that.
It's pretty trick. Yeah.
That's pretty cool.
And also, I'm concerned with the probe and an aftermarket exhaust and a straight pipe with no cat, that you are going to be seeing different temps or whatnot.
Yeah.
And I don't want that probe it might get just triggered because it's running different temperatures. So
because we really don't know the specs. I'll see if some of the guys know.
Yeah, you know what, yours was frozen inside there, and if
that's why we could. I don't want to break it off.
It would have broke.
That's why you don't know what the thread is.
It would have definitely broken off. I let it sit for a couple days with. Some,
we soaked it. We heated it up. It wouldn't come off, and we were like, if we take this off, it's never going back there. So you're just gonna have we gotta have either a broken probe, a stripped pipe or
a welded bar,
or have to weld it shut. So
Yeah.
we were like, we'll leave his factory and then we'll just let you decide if you want to talk to your guys.
It would be easy enough to add
Okay.
it in.
Yeah.
So
And then the O2 sensor goes on the top.
O2 sensors
Yep.
goes up here.
Was mine frozen?
No,
yours was fine.
surprisingly it was
We
good.
put it in there with some grease and stuff like that, so when we go to Master
All right, cool.
we can. We usually use what are called saddled, so they have more surface area to weld on.
Yeah.
We were originally going to use those on there, but it just is too small for the pipe. This is made for like a 3-inch minimal diameter pipe. Notched ones, they look a little bit better.
Yeah.
And
I've seen those on some pipes. They come out pretty cool, especially once you get when you weld it on stainless and you get like that nice penetration color.
yeah, the blue color, kind of like these
Yeah.
inside there. So yeah, that definitely is. Yeah, those saddled ones are kind of more so made for something like that.
Yeah.
They're not. That's not really feasible size to use on there. So it'll be nice, really nice piece when we get the final version done. I think we're waiting on some tube, because now that we had that kind of in order last week, we went ahead and ordered basically every mandrel we needed. I think it was like 25 pieces.
How close do we have the real thing in our hand for people to play with?
What do you mean, like the final prototype?
The final product to give to
to be
people so they
boxed
can.
up.
Yeah, so
I would say 2 to 3 weeks.
Okay.
At the latest. So by the end of the month, we should be
excellent.
rolling with
That's
that.
that's very exciting.
Yeah.
I'm
pretty
trying to
excited.
get. So my original plan was to actually have my car at home and do work
An
to
install
it.
video?
Well, not the install video,
Okay.
but like I'm trying to do engine maintenance too.
Okay.
I got to drop the motor out and do
Yeah,
stuff.
yeah.
And as you saw, my AC compressor is probably dripping right now.
Yeah, it's a.
Yeah.
We had a couple oil leaks. I think your pan is leaking, and there's a couple fittings on the front side of the engine. I don't think they're the turbo stuff. but
Turbo
something-
was loose.
Turbo was loose.
Turbo was loose. So we tightened it up. So
I went to go. I actually built a version for this with the 3D printed top part, and I thought the 3D printed one was melting or moving because it kept every time I unbolted it to check on the fixture and put it back. It was like in a different location. And I was like, the fuck is going on here? So, like, I went, dropped the car down. It's kind of funny seeing it on the lift because it's like this big. But I went to move the flange around, and I grabbed the charge pipe out of the turbo, and I kind of like moved it, and I saw the turbo moving. I was
That's
like,
interesting.
Yeah.
the flange was loose.
Yeah, and then I pulled the little flange.
Oh, you know what?
The
That might
little
explain the
heat shield.
hissing noise.
Yeah, I think that
So-
definitely was it.
I've wondered what that was because it only does it sometimes, and I would floor it, and it happens more when it was cold, like when the
That would
temperature
make
was cold
sense
outside,
because
so it
the
would
ceiling
shrink a little bit.
surfaces are
Yeah.
shrunk, yeah.
Um,
Expanded out.
You get this nice. I mean, it sounds really cool because it's like, and then you just boost away.
Yeah.
But it seemed alright.
Yeah, it was moving around a little bit, so I took the heat shield off the manifold and tightened that down.
All right.
One, to make sure my fixture was correct. That was the primary concern there, but whatever functionality wise,
Yeah.
should be a lot better than what it was. So.
So, I want to bring this over to that shop for the dyno run,
Yeah.
and then that's when I realized I can't take it out to do anything because I want everything to stay the same when I do
Gotcha.
all the stuff, like all the different runs with
Yeah.
all the different variances.
Yeah.
So I was like, all right, I guess I'm not doing this in the wintertime.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, we'll have everything here. Like if you want to shoot a quick install or something like that, about how to put it in and out.
Yep,
You know,
I want to do
found
that too. Yep.
The easiest way we can do it here, having a lift. Obviously, some people at their
Oh,
house.
I have a lift at home. Yeah.
Yeah,
It
so,
helps.
so like that's the easiest way I found to do it was take the sway bar off, drop the sway bar down, or take it out of one side and swing it down, and then unbolt the subframe and the 2 motor mounts. The whole subframe just pops out of it. Yeah, we can pop it off. Made it way easier than having
Then
to
crawling through the
split it.
hole in the back.
Yeah, so this mount right here.
Yeah.
And then below these two down there
Yeah.
are two basically subframe isolators. Basically subframe bolts. Same thing happens next to the front mount, and right in front of the turbo.
Yeah.
There's 2 more bolts that go into it, and then it has a mount identical to that
Okay.
one. and then just unbolt that one, pull them out, or you can leave it in. It doesn't really matter.
So, I mean, this only works if you have a lift. For those people that don't have a lift,
you can do it.
trickier.
You can do it on the ground.
Yeah.
It, like you said, be a little bit trickier, but I find it's the easiest way to take the factory one out.
Do you think it's possible to go through the hole? The access hole in the back?
To take everything out of the access hole?
Yeah.
Or to do everything?
Or to unbolt the pipe and then like maybe drop the pipe down somehow, like let go of it.
No. No, yes and no, but you would need two people, and
Okay,
you'd have to split the factory catalytic converter from the factory downpipe.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And that might be harder to do. It was harder for us to do because we did it just right here on jack stands to see if we could do it.
Yeah.
And the guys spent a day just trying to take it out and take it apart.
Yeah.
It was not really viable.
So
If
the
we would have known, we would have just.
The factory pipe will come out as one piece if you don't have that exhaust temperature probe.
Ah, okay.
Yeah, if you remove, I mean, we didn't really.
It will
test
come out as one piece. So
we didn't test
when the
that.
pipe drops out, there is an opening in the lower subframe, the oval opening
Yep.
where the exhaust runs through. The reason why you can't take it out as one piece is because the probe sticks out far enough that it hits the frame every single time, and it won't let the pipe to drop fully down.
Okay.
Yeah, judging by the condition of your car and how frozen that was in there, any car that's rougher than this one, that probe probably isn't going to come out.
Okay. And mine isn't too bad.
Yours is not actually in bad shape, and it's frozen.
So yeah.
I'm gonna go with a car that's less maintained than yours is, or a little rustier or something like that. The likelihood of that coming out is very
low.
Very low.
Okay.
So I would just suggest to people the easiest possible way to take it out would probably be just to drop the subframe out of it. And it's a tiny little car, you know. The motor's not falling on you or anything like that.
No, you might die. You might die. You won't die, but you might die.
I think you probably pick it up and pull it off. Yeah. Aside from that, like I said, I've taken that thing off 2 or 3, 6, 7, 8 times, and I've taken the factory one out a couple times and put it back in.
All right.
So I can help you out with whatever install information or anything.
Okay,
I just found
that'd be perfect.
the easiest possible way to do it is just drop the anti-sway bar and then take those 2 motor mounts off and then drop the subframe. Then you have full access to whatever you want inside there.
I mean, you've done it. I believe you.
Yeah.
So I'm just trying to think of all the different ways to do it.
Yeah, me too. A couple of the hardware that was in there was starting to strip, so we just put new hardware in it.
Oh, cool. Thank you.
Or anything like that. It's all OEM hardware. It's from Mazda, not
It's
Suzuki,
Suzuki, Mazda. So
the same thing.
the drivetrain and stuff is all Suzuki. The arrest is Mazda.
Yeah. So I suspect it's kind of the same thing.
Yeah.
Some of the geometry and stuff look really familiar with stuff that we've seen from Mazda. So, but yeah, aside from that, everything's good to go. And in a few weeks here, we should have your run of definitely the 15 and the catted section. So,
Excellent.
Yeah, like we were saying earlier, cat's super high quality, so you shouldn't have any issue with that stuff. And if you can get the specifications of the thread pitch for the bung, for the temperature probe,
and whether or not people actually want them,
whether or not it matters. I feel like
for the no cat one, it probably doesn't matter.
For the no cat, I would say it doesn't. I would rather not have it in there because it's just going to set it off.
Yeah.
You know, you're just going to have to deal with the light on the dash.
Yeah.
With the no cat one, if you did put the temperature probe in there, but aside from that, you shouldn't.
Okay.
You shouldn't have an issue.
All right. So in the temperature probe, I assume it just plugs in somewhere. We could just
correct.
Unplug.
Yeah, it's just unplug. It's on some harness. The way that runs, the only thing we're gonna have to do is there's a little clip where that harness. There's those 2 hoses you were talking about, or those 2 cables.
The 2 cables, something.
Yep. There's a wiring harness that goes on the right side of that.
Yep.
That kind of comes around, and then the chassis is right here, and the turbocharger's there, and where the motor mount attaches to. There's like a little plastic clip that holds that harness in.
Yep.
I didn't want to do it now, but because I can just move the harness with my hand and put everything in there. But later on, with the final version, the only thing we're gonna have to do is just pop that clip, and then just there's slack in the harness on this side, so we're just gonna have to pull it, you know, and then reclip it and then tie wrap the harness a little bit further away from the downpipe because it does swish around.
It's like
This is basically the stuff we use for heat protection on like
So I'm not surprised.
on any like oil hose or something on like a big manifold or something.
Yeah.
And it stands up to about 2,000 degrees.
That's plenty.
So
Yeah,
it's
turbo.
Should be
big
plenty.
hose.
Plenty to I'll show you on this.
That is maxed
So
out.
you can see this is the stuff we use for that, and the header is uncoated and it's sitting in there.
And
Some of the hoses are really close together.
touching in
Yeah.
some places, kind of.
We try to keep at least, you know, a half-inch gap between stuff, maybe a quarter-inch gap.
This is a huge intercooler.
Yeah, it's pretty gigantic.
I think the one on my car is about half the width
Maybe.
of this thing and about that big.
About that big, yeah. But we run it on these race cars that see nothing but high RPM all the time, and we've never had an issue with melting a hose or anything like that.
I like running mine at like 8,000 RPM.
All the time. Stoplight to stoplight.
Just.
Cool. Yeah, but aside from that, you should be pretty good.
Looks good.
We'll give you a buzz in about a week and let you know exactly where we are, but we should be in with the fabrication about a week or 2 years. So
All right.
about another week to finish them all off, and good to go there.
Sounds good.
Is the key in it?
Keys in the box. I'm afraid to leave the key in it because I didn't want it to lock or anything like that.
Oh, it's all manual.
I was just scared because I was like, yo, this thing locks inside. I have no idea how you can even break into it. So I'm like, I'm just gonna leave the key out of it every single time.
The windows are definitely interesting.
yeah. It's not like something where you can kind of put a Slim Jim in and pull.
In that box on the floor,
Yeah.
there's a Mercedes parts box, but it's just your factory downpipe.
Yeah, we
You remember
the one I gave you. Yeah.
The one you gave me?
Yep.
That's in there. You might see some 3D printed pieces in there. If you want, you can just chuck them. That's just what I use for mock-ups. But
Yeah,
anyway.
I'll probably hang on to them. I like to hoard things.
You'll see it's just different variations of stuff that we tried and like on a 3D printer before that flange got made. So there's like 2 or 3 different variants and stuff like that.
Okay, cool. All right, what are we doing? Are we wheeling it out this way?
We can either push it or not.
I think I have to pull forward because I wasn't sure where I could be. Oh, and there's also this card here.
Yeah, so pull forward a bit.
Okay.
And then I'll get this over there.
The back of the trailer behind this.
Yeah,
white Mercedes?
So we'll I'll put the Mercedes in that corner. Just pull forward, and then I'll move the Mazda kind of in line with that, and then we can back up the trailer towards.
Oh no.
Yeah.
Yeah. Needs a new one.
Just steal it from this one.
Yeah.
Oh man, broke my license again. Oh, I slipped and I fell. Pleasant.
That looks okay.
Oh yeah, because it's too far back.
It's too far back. The wheel straps are meant to be in the...
Like up there, yeah. All right, got the car hooked up. Should be okay. The tire straps don't fit, at least with my coilovers. The bumper will hit the metal part. So, looks good. Off we go. So I'm on my way to the dyno shop, and I have a real car trailer. So it's only a little bit sketched now because it barely fits on the trailer. But look at that. Look at that little car. And look at that. Looks good to me. Way less sketch than last time, so. It's consistent.
Yeah. It made 73.1, now 73.6.
Yeah.
79.2, now 79.5.
Yep.
Very consistent. Yeah.
Pretty good. We can actually do math off of this then. All right, that was fun. Let's go home. Oh, my shoes are all wet. So I'm driving down the highway, keep looking at the corner of my eye, I keep seeing that, and I always feel like somebody's tailgating me, and I realize, oh, it's my own car I'm towing. That's funny to look at. That's just like right there. It's eating some noodles. Towing the car trailer with the car on it even seems to be more efficient than towing the box trailer thing I had last time. Well, maybe because it's more aerodynamic, because it doesn't have like that like wall, this front square. That's interesting. Significantly better. I think I was getting like 9 last time, so this is like 50% better almost. If not more, no, it's more than 50% better. All right, cool. Nice to note this. That's a tight fit right there, but after what, a few hours of towing one of these things around and then backing it up maybe 3 times, 4 times maybe, becoming a pro at this. It's pretty easy. You can see the fit here. The trailer is huge. Oh, sorry, the trailer is huge, but the car barely fits on there. I saw a picture online where somebody had a beat on here, and maybe their track width was a little bit different. They were more narrow than this. So this actually fits okay. You just gotta be careful with the ramps because you're hanging about this much off with the tires when you come down. Let's get this unloaded now. It's okay as long as you're a front wheel. You can see these 3 holes. You can self-guide yourself down. See there? The tire kind of hangs off a little bit. It's not too bad.